Hello everyone, welcome back to On the Fly. Today we are going to be taking a look at what the Boston Bruins have been doing so well under Coach Montgomery. So one of the main reasons why Boston has got off to the hot start they have, 11-2 as of the time of making this video, has been the schemes that they've been provided, and really they've all sort of stuck to that sort of idea of what to do and what situations. So Boston's really done quite well under Coach Montgomery, and we'll see if they can continue that. Whether or not they can, whether a team can actually find a counter. The only real team so far that's figured it out against them has been the Ottawa Senators, who ended up winning 7-5 in pretty convincing fashion. Other than that, Boston is currently the best team in terms of goal differential. The only other game they've lost so far to this point, at least, has been against the Leafs in the 2-1 fashion. And that one, to be honest, the two goals they scored really weren't based off the scheme. They just sort of got a little lucky goals off Allmark. And they weren't necessarily the goals you see in the game against Ottawa. At least Ottawa sort of figured it out how to beat them, especially playing on a back-to-back night. They were able to skate circles around the scheme. So we'll sort of jump into it today and we'll start off here with sort of their main breakout. So when we look at this, we have the lefty. Doesn't really matter who it is. It's always the offside defenseman. So if you look at here, it might be the right defenseman. If it were the other way, you'd see the right defenseman with the puck, left defenseman on the corner. Left winger would play sort of up top you typically see him between the red line, or in between the two blue lines for sure, if not the red line to the blue line. And the right winger would crash down here with the center playing offside. Typically you find either the right winger playing on this side with the left winger following up with the right winger, sort of trying to protect that zone, which gives the right defenseman as much time here. The center you typically find either with the other center, with the left defenseman, or with the left winger. For the basis of so far what we've seen against the Bruins, for the most part, center-on-center action. Right winger is holding the defenseman. Left winger is covering the right side. Right defenseman has to play up here, which means the left defenseman sort of just skating around trying to figure out where to go, which of course does in fact leave the left defenseman open. And what we've seen so far with the Bruins, what they end up doing, they pass the puck to the left defenseman. The right winger crashes. The center typically crashes. And then this center, call this Patrice Bergeron, for example, typically will end up skating up this way. And if there is the pass, the center bites too far in, you typically see that left defenseman pass all the way to the center. And then you have yet another 3-on-2, depending on if that right winger can break away from the left winger. In most cases, he does. Whether or not they do, who knows. But typically you see these three crashing. The left winger is already holding the right defenseman on the point. So this guy can't really crash into here, because if he does, and we've seen it a few times, he crashes. It's a quick pass off the boards on the left winger, and then you have a 2-on-1 with the left winger crashing as well. You never know what you see there. So that's one of the main sort of offensive schemes from the Bruins in terms of their breakouts. And that's pretty much how they've done so far, and really has worked pretty effectively in terms of for the Bruins. And they've scored a lot of goals off that sort of rush. And one of the main reasons why is because teams don't necessarily work on that sort of breakout style. Most teams play a collapsing style where the right defenseman will typically just stay back. He won't typically bite. But if this center bites at all it takes is that center to break free. The left winger, if he's coming around for some reason, and they have two forwards coming in on this defenseman, then all of a sudden you take these three guys all come out of the play because the right defenseman rims it around the boards. This center crashes, puts it off the boards, and then you have 3-on-2 coming up the inside. So one of the main reasons why Boston's had a lot of goals recently has been their offensive rushes. And we'll sort of take a look now as we move over to the defensive side of the ice with Boston. And what we've seen so far in terms of the defensive side has been, if we call the puck all the way down here, and we have the left winger. So left winger, depending on who gets there first, there hasn't really been a set player, whether it's the left side or the right side, that comes crashing. But whichever one it is, typically we find the right winger sort of holding that defenseman. They like to play what we call a 1-2-2, where the offside winger, whoever isn't covering that point man, is going to stay back and hold whoever is on the side here to their respective points. If it comes to it, what happens is one of these players, typically the left winger, knocks the puck down. The puck goes into the corner. I'll sort of show you where we are. So call it like this. The right defenseman is playing back, sort of in here, because most left wingers are sort of stuck there. You have the right wingers coming here. The center's sort of up in the middle. So you can see here how we have the 1-2-2. The left defenseman's also playing up here, sort of making sure he's not going to get beat by that right winger. And we see here, this is especially what Boston's been doing recently, is what they do is, especially if whichever way they want to force, the center sneaks over. Say the left winger wants to come this way, which you've seen quite a bit. You come around, you take your strong side off. The right winger can never make a play here, because if he does, if all of a sudden he tries to force it through, it either gets knocked down by the left winger coming around, or the other option is this, it comes around. The right winger is going to get stuck on that point because the left D collapses, and Boston has had really active D lately, which has really helped them out in terms of their offense, especially on their defensive side, because there's really nothing they can do. And that's when you look at sort of the Ottawa game. The defensemen looked really tired in that game. They gave up too much, and then as they sort of broke out, that's when it sort of collapsed. So what they've been doing lately, at least, is they've been collapsing that D. This center drops back with this center because this center needs to go this way, support the puck. The center follows. The left winger, who bit here, right, to try and disrupt that pass. If he knocked it down, great. Then they go into their offensive scheme, which we'll get to here in a second. But when we take a look at the defensive side, especially, once this guy gets stuck on the boards, there's nothing really they can do. If they bounce it off the boards, get it past the D, this center's already coming back. This center's late to the party because this guy's already got a head start. So Boston does pick up the puck. Everyone comes out, and they recycle and head into the zone. And as for their offensive scheme, it is an interesting scheme. We don't see too much of it in today's NHL, but we'll sort of go here with the puck. Boston's a big dump and chase team right now, and it's been working pretty well for them. So you have the lefty here. The right winger typically won't support. You'll have the center playing down low. The center here, whoever's in first in play, Boston does not believe in a three-forward system. It's whoever's really in play first is going to get there. So in the case of this, we'll call it left winger on the puck, with who's getting trapped right now with the center on the board. Boston's doing a lot of board cycling recently, so we'll call it here. If we look here, we have the center and the left winger pinned. The right D is also trying to poke the puck out. So what we typically find is this center comes around here to the offside with the right winger who's sneaking in here. So what happens is either the puck, when it comes loose, either comes around this way. The right winger will pinch with the left D. The left winger is just sort of covering the point. We haven't seen too much of anything special there. So we'll call the left winger and the right winger stuck with the left D, the right D. And as the puck typically comes around the boards, it's either going to go this way. The center will pick up the puck, do a little loop-de-loop here. We'll see him come around with the puck. And what they like to do is they like to force it onto this offside because the lefty is watching the play down low. And the lefty sort of watches the play down low. That's when everybody starts to get a little bit stuck. And basically this guy gets stuck back here because he's watching the play. The center comes around the boards, passes the puck out in front. The right winger, who we've seen a lot of times, come across and have a wide open shot on net, which for the Bruins has been absolutely massive. If it doesn't work, typically we find the right winger crashing here because he's seeing the play. The left winger crashes in to sort of try and stop that right winger. The puck, instead of going this way, it goes up to the D. And from here, they like to do what we call a cycle drill. Right D sneaks in here. The left D passes the puck across. The left winger, who is just getting pinned, comes out front. The center, who just passed the puck around, comes out front. And you have a screen shot with every single player coming out in front to try and to guard it. And that's also, I've seen a lot of Bruins goals so far. And it's really been really effective in terms of what the Bruins have been able to do. I've been very impressed. And really the only time that this hasn't worked is against a team like the Leafs, where you have those sort of active defensemen. But if you trust the process long enough, it eventually goes in. And on the defensive side, the only times, especially in that Ottawa game, that I really saw a problem with the system is when the defense weren't crashing in hard enough. They sort of were hesitant, especially coming off a back-to-back. It's understandable. But so far, in terms of the defensive system, it's been lights out. And it's really been a credit to Montgomery for what he's been able to do in Boston. All the players are buying into his system, so we'll continue to see if he's able to do that. We'll continue to watch if this sort of defensive and offensive schemes still stick in place. Of course, there is still time to change it, But with that, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really like to, consider subscribing. Tell all your friends and comment down below your thoughts on this news. Until next time.